Hey everyone, today I've got two big topics to go over. The possibility of The Last of Us Part 3 being teased, and the official release date for the Housemaids secret. There's actually a lot to break down here, so let's start with The Last of Us Part 3. So for years now, there have been rumors about a third Last of Us game. It's one of those things that never really goes away. Every few months, something pops up. People start speculating again, and then it kind of dies down, because nothing ever gets confirmed. And that's the key thing. Nothing has been officially confirmed by Naughty Dog. But recently, Neil Druckmann posted something on Instagram that got a lot of people talking again. He shared some original sketches from 2003, way before the first game ever released. The sketches showed a man, his surrogate daughter, and a journey across a broken America. So yeah, that immediately sounds like The Last of Us. But it was really the caption that got people thinking. He talked about finding these old sketches while cleaning his garage, reflecting on the journey, and then he said he was grateful for the few stops that remain on the road ahead. Now that line right there is what set everything off. People saw that and immediately started saying, okay, this has to be a tease for Part 3. But honestly, I don't fully agree with that. To me, this feels more like someone looking back on where they started and appreciating how far they've come. Especially when you're talking about someone like Neil Druckmann, who has been working on this franchise for so long. Not everything has to be a hint or a teaser. And if you look at what he said in the past, it actually makes this even more unclear. Back in early 2025, he pretty much told people not to bet on there being another Last of Us. That sounds pretty definitive. But then later, during the Sacred Symbols podcast, he said he would jump at the opportunity to make a third game, but only if there's a story that's worthy of it. So it's not like he's completely shutting the door on it, but he's also not saying it's happening. And that's where we are right now, stuck in that middle ground. Now on top of that, we also know that Naughty Dog is currently working on multiple projects. One of them is Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, which we already know about. But there's also another game in development that hasn't been revealed yet. And this is where I think people might be jumping the gun. Just because there's an unannounced project doesn't automatically mean it's The Last of Us Part 3. It could be something completely new. It could even be another original IP. So if people get too hyped thinking it's Part 3, and then it turns out to be something else, there's going to be a lot of disappointment. And we've seen that happen before. Now, this whole situation has also been getting talked about a lot on Reddit. And honestly, not everyone is convinced this is a tease. Some people are straight up saying, I don't see how this is a Part 3 teaser. Others are saying it's just him reflecting on his career. And then you got people saying fans are just reading way too much into it, which, let's be honest, happens all the time. There was even someone asking if we really need another game at this point. And that's actually something I want to talk about for a second. Because for me personally, I don't really think we need another Last of Us. I know that might not be a popular opinion, but it's just how I feel. A lot of people didn't like Part 2, and I was one of them. I went into that game really excited because Naughty Dog had never disappointed me before. And then after playing it, it just didn't hit the same. It's not even that it was a bad game overall. It just wasn't what I was hoping for. So for me, I kind of feel like they either should have stopped with the first game, or if they were going to continue, maybe go in a completely different direction with new characters. Same world, new story. I think that could have worked really well. But as of right now, I just don't have that same excitement anymore when it comes to anything Last of Us related. That doesn't mean I won't check out what they do next. I'm definitely curious about their upcoming projects. I'm just not getting my hopes up. So yeah, overall, I say don't count this being a Part 3 tease. It could be, but there's just not enough there to say that it is. Now let's move on to the Housemaids secret. We've actually gotten a pretty solid update on this one, and there's a lot more concrete information compared to the Last of Us situation. First off, Paul Feig is returning to direct, and Rebecca Sonnenschein is back to write the script. So right away, that gives you some consistency from the first film. We also have returning cast members, including Sydney Sweeney and Michele Moroni. coming back as Millie and Enzo. And then you've got Kirsten Dunst joining the cast as Wendy Garrick, who is going to be the new woman that Millie works for. Now the story itself sounds pretty interesting, and honestly, kinda creepy. Millie is once again working as a maid, but this time she's taking care of a house for a woman she's never allowed to see. And of course, there's a locked door involved, which is never a good sign. And as the story unfolds, it looks like she's going to uncover secrets that are even darker than her own. So yeah, definitely leaning more into that thriller, suspense type of vibe. Now let's talk about the big thing, the release date. The Housemaid's Secret is officially set to release on December 17th, 2027. And yeah, that's a long wait. There's no way around it. It can definitely be frustrating when something gets announced this early, especially when it's still years away. It happens with games all the time, and now we're seeing it happen more and more with movies too. But if you look at the timing, it actually does make sense. The first Housemaid movie came out on December 19th, 2025, so they're clearly aiming for that same December window again. So this isn't random, it's planned. And honestly, if this becomes a trilogy, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the third movie also comes out in December. Now here's where things get really interesting. Right now, The Housemaid's Secret is scheduled to release on the same day as Avengers Secret Wars and The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. That would be a massive day for movies. 3 huge releases all dropping at the same time. But realistically, I don't see that sticking. There's a very high chance at least one of those movies gets moved. Studios usually try to avoid direct competition like that, especially when you're talking about major franchises. Still, if it somehow stays that way, that would be one of the biggest movie weekends we've seen in a long time. So yeah, that's everything I wanted to go over. What do you think about all this? Do you think Neil Druckmann was actually teasing The Last of Us Part 3, or are people just reading too much into it? What do you think Naughty Dog's next game will be? And are you excited for The Housemaid's Secret, even with that long wait? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments.